Do we really want to talk about disaster recovery and business continuity on a Friday? So as I write, one of the most important airports in Europe, Heathrow, is shut. There has been a fire at a local substation caused, according to one report, by careless disposal of smoking matter. Now forgive me for being cynical, but if someone has carelessly dropped a fag and caused a small fire, it does not warrant the anti-terrorist squad. Not only that, but this fire at a substation has knocked out homes, schools, the local airport, and God knows what else. Even the M4 is shut. For the love of the baby Jesus, the Virgin Mary, and the wee donkey. This brings into question another issue, or even two, depending on your viewpoint. The first is disaster recovery and the second is business continuity. Or do we treat them as one? Let me put it simply. There are things that countries are good and bad at. The Germans, for example, are absolute shite at curries and airports. Trying to find a good example of either in Germany is like trying to get a Labour MP to give a straight answer to a straight question. As much as I dislike the schmuck, Lee Anderson tries almost every day without fail. What the Germans can do without fail and with excellent success is what the United Kingdom is hopeless at. Major projects, infrastructure and disaster recovery. Heathrow Airport is a major hub. It's a major employer. It's massive. I have worked there and around the fringes. I know it well. I have been a passenger through Heathrow more times than some Londoners have used their local tube station. But every time there is a small issue, the local airport and the local economy collapses like a Kimi Badenoch manifesto and reveals the locality to be more fragile than Boris Johnson's excuse for partying during COVID, or his father's excuse for not wearing a condom. If I flew a paper aeroplane in the car park at Heathrow, the place would shut for a week. Anywhere else in the world there would be a backup plan for everything. I remember chaos at Heathrow well. In 2003, striking British Airways staff caused the place to collapse in a dispute over swipe cards backed by a certain trade union. In 2008 there was the opening of Terminal 5. What a farce that was. There have been others. Uncle Google is your mate. The thing is how quickly a business can recover from such a failure. This is disaster recovery or business continuity. I have been around this subject since 1995. It's no laughing matter. I know some people who are an awful lot better at it than me. Try £5,000 a day better than me. The thing is, a fire at a substation has caused this damage and the recovery is indeterminate. Even Flopsy, my dead goldfish whose ashes are on my mantelpiece, could fix this easily enough. My cat could sort it in an hour and she is alive and kicking and scaring pigeons out of the sky for kicks. I wouldn't put it past her to land the odd Airbus safely given the right encouragement. 12 metric tons of Dreamis, if you are an airline needing emergency support, and the lack of power to an air traffic control tower. Trust me, she is good. This, Your Majesties, Highnesses, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, is the basic tenet of disaster recovery or business continuity planning. What you do as a business when the proverbial hits the fan to keep things running and to keep throughput. I have heard whilst writing that the top airports for diversions are Amsterdam and Frankfurt. This should show you how bad things are. The Germans are so bad at airports that if God wanted to give Europe an enema, Frankfurt Airport is where the hole would be. Amsterdam Airport is not much better. So we have a total failure and no backup plan. Let's leave the anti-terrorist squad out of this for now. Incapable police officers, 99% of the police population, beggars belief, why they didn't just divert the local M4 traffic cops for the experience. It would be cheaper for the taxpayer, are only going to discombobulate the situation even more. We have people clucking around like hens, a major important piece of infrastructure shut. No plan for recovery in sight. A fire apparently still burning by the sounds of it. Schools are shut. Poor little children not learning. A motorway partially shut. Certain transport links not running correctly. And you wonder why I said earlier that the Germans were better at this stuff than we are. Yes, they are shite at airports, but they wouldn't have kept one shut for this long and they would have had a backup. When I was in IT, a key metric was how quickly we could recover from backup if our systems went down. We needed to be quick whether or not it was a Bob the Builder outfit or a massive company like a bank. We even had to rehearse it every so often. Business continuity planning. Yes, Heathrow Airport is massive, it's big, it's unwieldy some might say, but we run better airports than the Germans until something like this hits the fan and then we fold like a deck of cards. No other backup power plant or supply, thousands of people stranded somewhere. Lots of money lost in various economies. Today Heathrow Airport is a laughing stock, it's not just me saying that. The BBC website has said it twice in their coverage. We move on, there are wants to have a third runway at Heathrow. I agree with this, but Heathrow cannot manage with what it has, as is being demonstrated today. This could mean that the third runway could mean even more issues and too much more complexity for disaster recovery and business continuity planning. As I finish writing, operations at Heathrow are beginning to restart apparently. How long will this incident drag on for? When will the next incident occur? What changes will we all see in Heathrow's management of such an event in the future? Will we see a full disaster recovery plan or a full business continuity plan? Bottom line as I close. If even Baldrick was able to have a plan, then it shouldn't be too difficult for Heathrow Airport to have a good backup plan.